Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kyle Carroll at MyMMAnews.com and Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. Today we are joined by Jillian Petraglia, who's a boxer and fighting at Inferno Training Center. Jillian, how you doing?
I'm good, good. How are you?
Doing much better. We had a little bit of technical difficulties trying to get started. I guess according to Jillian, I sound like Cookie Monster. So things are sounding better now. But Jillian, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into boxing.
Okay, well, I'm 21 years old. I'm from Long Island, Lindenhurst. I started getting into boxing about 7.5 years ago when my coach Mike opened up his own gym. He opened up an MMA gym at first, and we were doing like MMA, kickboxing, and then I actually have two kickboxing fights. So I started out as a kickboxer first, and then there just wasn't enough girls, and it was like 6, 7 months before I could get another fight. And I was also 17 at the time when I started kickboxing, so I was also really young. And so we decided to transition from kickboxing to boxing just because they had more opportunities for the younger kids trying to start. So I started in boxing, and I started out when I was 18 when I had my first boxing match. And me and Mike learned. Mike was not really a boxing coach at first, and I didn't know nothing about boxing either. So we learned together as we go. So now I have to say he's probably one of the elite boxing coaches. He's the best. So we started that when I was 18. Been doing that ever since. I'm 21 now. I have 18 bouts. So I just came back
Wow.
from nationals in Louisiana. I have two. I just signed up for two fights in January and one in February. So we've been together for quite some time.
18 bouts already, and you're not you're still pretty young. Like, tell us a little bit about what it's like to compete that much in a short amount of time. You see a lot of MMA fighters, they'll take 2-3 months off in between. Same way, kickboxing is very similar to boxing. You'll get a lot of fights in, but 18 fights in a short period of time, and then you already have 3 fights lined up for the 2022. Tell us what it's like to compete that quickly in a turnaround.
Um, I honestly love it. I love being in the fight camp mode year round. I don't get any time off really. So if we have fights booked, if I come back from a fight, I'll get like a couple days rest. That way my body can recoup, and then I'm right back in the gym, and it's just like fight camp never ended. So it's one after the other after the other. But I also like it because I started out at a young age that gave me that opportunity to get as
Mhm.
many bouts as I can under my belt before I decide to do anything pro related, anything like that. I have like certain goals in the amateur field that I want to do, but to attain those goals, I have to be comfortable in the ring. I have to be able to walk in there like it's just a normal day. And so having as many bouts as I do and continuing to have 6, 7, 8 bouts a year versus only getting one or two is what's helping me be able to step in the ring every time and not be nervous and have more fun than nerves. So I like it. I like having one after the other after the other.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about the experience that you had in national, what you learned from it.
So I had went to national. So because of COVID, there was a nationals back in March.
Hmm.
So at the end of March, beginning of April, there was the nationals for the 2020. But because COVID happened, they canceled that one in 2020 and they had it in 2021. So I went to that one. That was my first ever national tournament. And I went there with 9 bouts. So it was my ninth bout. I'm fighting on a national level with nationally ranked people, the best boxers in my weight class that I'd see. At that time, I fought at 152. So I was fighting 152 national level with those boxers, and I was 20 at the time. I didn't even turn 21 yet, and I was nervous, but I was excited because I knew that I could hang with these girls. I knew that I was able to step in that ring, and I might have not won, but I was able to step in there and I was able to swing back with them and not get completely mutilated. And that was because one, my coach Mike and his whole game plan and everything he did, as you saw in Tony's video when he was on here too, he gave a little bit about that. We kind of have the same game plan a little bit. Mine's different just because I'm a boxer, but
Hmm.
from that nationals to the nationals that I just came back from in December, I had so many more bouts. And I think because I had so many more bouts and I just kept fighting one after the other, this nationals was probably my best one. And I made it to semifinals and then I lost. But I did way better this nationals than I did my first nationals. And it's because my first nationals, I came back. Mike reassessed the whole fight. We broke it down. We sat down and we watched it minute by second by like millisecond, and we were seeing what I was doing wrong, what I needed to improve, what my opponent was doing that I wasn't seeing. And then from that on, we used each bout that I've had after that to lead up to the nationals now. And each time we just improved one thing at a time. So we're not really looking for 20 wins in a year. We're looking more to fix the game plan, tweak it here and there a little bit at a time. That way, at the end goal nationals next year for 2022, I'll have a
Mhm.
solid game plan and I'll be able to go in there and I'll just be able to do what I love to do.
Did you get any advice from any fighters that you fought or that you saw fought and you spoke to a little bit? Because I know a lot of the fighters always speak. Did you get any good advice from anyone?
Yeah, actually, I speak to everyone I fight. I speak to after. I actually take a picture. I have pictures on the wall behind me of all of us. I take a picture with every girl I fight with. We talked to the coach, even just random people there. There was over 1,200 boxers that
Oh
came to
wow.
this national tournament. So I was speaking to people from Hawaii, from California. It was crazy. But the girls I spoke to that I was fighting, and they all said like, "Oh, I've never fought somebody so young before," and they were like, "Just keep your head up, like you're in the game. I have like the advantage over everybody just because I'm so young." And they're like, in 2, 3 years from now, you're going to be a completely different boxer. Everyone just is so shocked by how young I am and how, like, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like how talented I am in the sport and
Hmm.
how much dedication I put in. Like I give up a lot to be able to do what I do, and I'm fine with that because I would rather do this every single day of my life than never be able to do it again. So all the sacrificing and everything I do, it pays off because one day everybody will see my name when I'm walking down in Madison Square Garden or I'm on top rank with Michaela Mayer and all of them.
How much confidence does it give you when you hear that from the other fighters? Like, I haven't fought anyone so young. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll get to where you want to go.
It boosts your confidence a lot, definitely. Hearing it from like my family and my friends and my support system, it boosts me. But when I actually hear it from somebody who's doing what I'm doing, it makes a big difference. So like my family, they like my parents and stuff, they're always like, "You're so young, you're so young, you're so young." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," but they don't do it, so they don't understand the feelings that come with it. But when I hear it from
Hmm.
someone who does it also, and they're complimenting me and saying like my striking and my defense and all of that was top notch, and for being so young, it's a great compliment to get, and I get it every time. Every time I even get it from refs and officials at the from USA Boxing. So it's a
Absolutely, that's
big
awesome.
confidence booster.
Absolutely. Tell us some of your short-term goals, long-term goals, what you want to do with in the sport of boxing.
So right now our main goal focus right now is nationals next year. Next year I want to take it all the way to the finals. I want to win. After I win, I want to be on Team USA for boxing. And once I'm on Team USA, I want to fight for them for a little bit, like travel around. They do a couple events together. My big thing is I want to go to the USA Boxing Colorado training center. I've wanted to go there for a
Mhm.
long time. After nationals, hopefully we'll be going secure a spot in the Olympic trials, do the Olympic trials. Maybe if I make it all the way, when I make it all the way, not maybe when I make it all the way, possibly the next Olympics in 2024. So I have time. Going pros on the table, but it's not for a long time. We want to go through the amateur level and we want to hit all these high points before we go to the highest point of all.
That's awesome. So you want to hit all those marks, and then you'll make that transition.
Yeah.
What do you believe you would have to do to go from amateur to professional and still be successful and take yourself into the next level?
I think it's having not just confidence in like your fighting ability. I think it's also growing as a person and being confident in yourself. There's times where I'm really confident in my boxing. I know I can go in there and I can beat somebody up. But if I walk out of the boxing gym and when I'm like at home and I'm hanging out or I'm with my friends, I notice you have to have self-confidence. So not just fighting confidence, you have to have
Hmm.
self-confidence. So if you can build up your fight confidence, you can definitely build up your self-confidence. And when you have self-confidence and fight confidence are high enough and they're together, you'll be unstoppable. So that transition should be smooth. As long as you've been getting as many bouts and as many fights in and you're comfortable walking from the back room to the ring and you're jumping around, feeling warm, getting in the ring, getting in the cage, and you're bouncing around, hanging around on the ropes, circling around, just showing that confidence in the ring also shows your self confidence. Like, damn, I know I'm here. This is my time now. It's time to go. So I do that now in the amateur. When I walk in the ring, I circle around, I wave, I hop up and down just to get me like boosted up, like, oh yeah, this is it. Now it's game time. And I think that is what, when you transition to the pro, is what some fighters have a hard time doing. They have a hard time being self confident, and they might be fight confident, but they don't have the self confidence to walk in there like they already won. I walk in as if
Mhm.
I already won the fight, and I'm walking in, and then I just go and I have a great time. So I think doing that on the amateur level is what's going to prepare you when it's time to go pro. You'll be able to just switch it around just a little bit because now it's a different playing field, but you'll be able to walk in there as confident as you did when you were just an amateur.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about training, who you spar with. I know you spar with Mike. I believe I saw on Instagram your sister as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Do you spar with any other women in the Long Island area? I know Sarah Thomas is a boxer. I don't know if she's your size or not, but
Yeah.
have you ever sparred with her or anyone else on Long Island?
I did a long when I first started my boxing career, I did with Sarah Thomas, but she moved out. I think she's in Long Beach now. I think
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
So she's out there. So I haven't did any sparring with her, but I mainly just stick with me, Mike, and my sister. That's it.
Okay.
So I have guys at the gym. Sometimes they'll help out too, but it's just us three. And my sister's also a boxer, so she does the same
Cool.
exact training that I do. So it's nice. And she's in my weight class. We both weigh the same. So I fight at 154 now or
Hmm.
165, and she's a 165. So we walk around at the same weight. So it's a nice training partner to have, and it's nice that she's a girl. Usually I like with the guys and being able to go back and forth with them, but when it's time to train and learn, you got to do it with a girl because guys' egos are too big.
Well, that's awesome though that you have someone like your sister that able to push each other, and I'm sure you get a
Mhm.
little bit of that sibling rivalry. A little
Yeah,
kind
we
of
do
kind of
sometimes. We
gets
give
in
it to
there.
each other.
That's awesome. Um, tell us a little bit about yourself. Something nobody knows, but you'd like to share with everyone. Doesn't have to be boxing related.
Mm, something that nobody knows.
Like, do you have any
Um,
hobbies outside of boxing? It sounds like you dedicate yourself to the sport, but is there anything you do outside of the sport to take your mind off
um,
of anything and kind of get that mental edge back?
Yeah, sometimes like I'll like journal a little. I know it sounds like
Okay.
corny, but like if I have like a journal at my house and like if I'm feeling like some type of way about like training that day or like something that happened in my life, I'll just like jot it down quickly and then I tear the paper up and then I throw it in the garbage.
Oh, really?
So
You
it's
just
so
chuck it
weird,
out.
yeah.
So it's only
Yeah, so
you
I
who
write
knows
it
what was
down.
written down.
Yeah. I write it down, I get my feelings out, and then when I'm done, I just rip it out and then I throw it in the garbage.
That's pretty funny. All right, cool. Well, tell us a little bit about what like female fighters that like Heather Hardy and Shields and all them. What kind of inspiration they have been for you, or do you have anyone that inspires you?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely Shields, Heather Hardy. I actually fought a few times at her gym in Gleason's gym in the city.
Hmm.
I fought there a few times, so which was pretty cool to be in like the same gym that she's in. So I didn't
Hmm.
meet her. I wish she was there because if she was there, I would have asked for a picture, but she wasn't. But it's cool to be able to fight in a gym that a professional comes from and that a professional still goes to today. And Clarissa Shields is an absolute goat. She is the top of anything. Sometimes I really feel like she can outbox men. Her technique in boxing is so like fine tuned to the point where I honestly would just let her punch me. Like I'd stand there just to be able to feel how it feels to get punched by her. Like she's
That's
my
funny.
favorite. Michaela Mayer, she's coming up now. She's 16-0. I feel like she's paving the way for women's boxing a little more than the other female boxers are. She's making it. She's bringing up points like women having equal rounds, having 2 minutes versus 3 minute rounds, and I feel like she advocates more for the women in boxing.
That's awesome. Oh, speaking of boxing, I know boxing's on the verge of being removed from the Olympics. Thoughts about that? Like, I know I'm sure as a boxer, you would love to participate in the Olympics, part of Team USA type thing.
Yeah.
thoughts about that. They want to replace it for skateboarding and some other nonsense. They're like leisure activities. And of course,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. But what does the boxing community have to do, similar to what the wrestling community did, to kind of keep boxing in the Olympics?
I think we all just have to push the issue. Not even just like the higher up people, like people who on like Long Island. Like we need to make noise. We need to let them know like this sport needs to be respected over skateboarding. Like if you replace boxing with skateboarding, it's like not saying that skateboarding is not a sport,
Hmm.
but I feel like
I will.
boxing boxing has been here for years and years, and I feel like taking that away and taking away the Olympics just like disrespects everybody who's participated in the Olympics before for boxing. Everybody who's
Yeah,
placed, who's
absolutely.
got medals, who's got gold, like it's like kind of like a spit in their face. So I feel like we should all make some noise somehow, some way on social media. I feel like is probably the easiest way to do that for it to get around to everybody. And we need to let them know like you're taking away something that so many people in the past have worked so hard to attain. And then like me and all these young boxers coming up, like that's the end goal for all of us in the amateurs. Like we want to go to the Olympics. We want to be able
Hmm.
to go to the Olympic trials. We want to feel that level of competition because that's as close as it gets to being a pro. So if you take that away and we're only left with these other like national tournaments and like weekend tournaments and stuff like that, it doesn't give us the real feel of what it's going to feel like when it's time to turn pro. So taking that away is just like taking a big chunk of our like whole learning career that we're trying to establish and learn from. It's just like taking that it's like taking education away from kids in school. I think it should not be done at all.
I agree 100%. I really think a lot of the former Olympians who've medaled and participated definitely need to take the charge and lead the way to advocate to keep Olympic boxing in Olympics. So, now speaking about your fights coming up, do you know your opponents, or is that kind of last second they match you up and get you in there, or like what events are
So
you
I'm
boxing at?
registered. I registered for one in January. That's in Jacksonville, Florida. So
Okay,
far, nobody's in my weight class. But then for February, I signed up for the Carolina Gloves in North Carolina. And so far, there's one girl in my weight class. She was also at nationals, but I didn't get to fight her. I didn't see her.
okay,
So I knew she was at nationals because I saw her name on the roster. But she's also registered for North Carolina, so she's in my weight class there. So I'll fight her. I have one fight secured for North Carolina and none for Florida yet, but hopefully soon someone will sign up.
awesome, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. How can people? Are those fights usually streamed? Like, how can people
Yeah,
usually
they
watch
usually
them?
stream like if you go on USA Boxing, their web page, their web point page, it'll show if there's like a live stream link, it'll be there. It'll say you just copy and paste it into the search bar on your Google or
Okay.
whatever you use, Chrome, Safari, and it'll take you right there. You can live stream it there. Nationals was live streamed. The national rankings are on the USA Boxing website. So I'm ranked nationally in two different weight classes in the 154 and the 165. So I'm
Okay.
ranked eighth in the 154, and then I'm ranked number six in the 165 that I just came back from. So if you go on there, you'll see my name on the rankings list on USA Boxing. So anytime you want like a live stream link or to see anything about USA Boxing, you just log on straight to their website, and their website has everything listed.
All right, I'll have to check that out. I'll definitely post something so other people could go on and look. Jillian, how would you describe your style for those who've never seen you box?
Um, well, I was told not to give too much away.
Without giving too much away. Are you
Mike, if
aggressive?
you're
Kind of.
watching, do not, I will not give anything away. I'm aggressive when it's time to come, but I'm patient. I
Okay.
wait. I'm patient. That's all I'll give. I'm a patient
All right.
boxer.
I'll take it. I appreciate that. Well, Jillian, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Anyone you want to recognize, or any sponsors you have you want to, um, Mike just posted, "Don't you dare."
I would
Anyone
never
you want
give
to
away.
recognize before we wrap this up?
Nope, everything comes from Mike Angelo, my coach. He gives me everything. Everything. So that's the only person I want to recognize.
Awesome. Well, Jillian, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Looking forward to seeing you get in the ring and compete. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This is Carol's Corner MMA podcast. Signing off with Jillian. Best of luck, Jillian.
Thank you. Bye.